Christmas 1936 was like any other for us fish in the Ohio River Basin. Calm waters, mild snowfall, and dinners full of algae and crayfish. That is until January of 1937, the all-time wettest month in Cincinnati, Ohio history. 13.68 inches of precipitation hit Ohio, with most of it concentrated right here in my home in the Ohio River Basin. Leading up to the extreme rainfall, the weather was acting funny. Abnormal barometric pressures and warm, humid air masses from the southern tropics collided with cooler northern polar air, resulting in a powerful rainstorm. As you know, vegetation doesn't grow in cold months like January, so the soil is quickly saturated. Early on in the rainstorm, the soil was completely saturated with water, and the surrounding waterways were full, leading to extreme flooding centered along my river basin. We experienced record rainfall in only a matter of 12 days during January 1937. An estimated 165 billion tons of water fell into the Ohio and Mississippi River Basin due to the rainfall from the colliding fronts. Funnily enough, the first part of January wasn't very wet. I spent New Year's comfortably in the regular river conditions with my family. However, from January 13th through the 24th, a wild ride ensued for all of us fish in the Ohio River Basin. On January 10th, the river level was slightly elevated at about 37 feet. Come the 18th, we surpassed our 52 feet flood stage. Eventually, the Ohio River Basin reached a record high of around 73 feet and rose to 80 feet. By then, fish dwellings were destroyed, families were lost, and I ended up way downstream from my family. From my fish calculations, around 20% of Cincinnati and over 70% of Louisville, Kentucky were underwater, so you can't blame me for ending up all the way in the city.
The flooding was so severe in January of 1937 in Ohio that the fish had ended up all the way in the city center. The floods left an estimated 1 million people homeless, including myself. So what else could I do but get in my boat and head out fishing on the floodwaters? The flooding affected nearly all of my home state of Kentucky, as well as southern parts of Ohio and Indiana. This flood remains the flood record for many locations along the Ohio River, and left behind an estimated 350 dead, including my late ex-wife Sally, so I no longer have to pay alimony. Woohoo! My radio news said,
the Roebling Suspension Bridge in Cincinnati was the only one that stayed open between Pittsburgh and Cairo, Illinois. The damage was catastrophic to the Ohio and Mississippi River valleys. The American Red Cross reports that the flood damage had broken all previous natural disaster records in the United States. 90% of Jeffersonville, Indiana was flooded.
That's where my cousin Larry lived. He survived on his own fishing boat too, and said there was around $250 million in damages then. My grandson says it's around $4 billion in today's money. The U.S. Coast Guard also passed me in their own boats. Apparently, 142 officers and 1,706 enlisted men were assisting the Red Cross in relief efforts, but I sure didn't see that many. I heard many of them were somewhere in the 12 aircrafts the Coast Guard sent out. But all I knew about was the fishing, and I still didn't catch much. That's just my luck. The news reported that after the flooding,
many people worked to put in preventative measures so this type of flooding wouldn't be so destructive again. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers took a stronger role in flood control, constructing levees, flood walls, reservoirs, gates, and pumping stations. Mill Creek is now completely enclosed in concrete.
Can you believe that? Crazy stuff they've done to this river. Just ask the fish.
After the flood, I never saw my family again. There are now 9 locks and dams along the 451 miles of the Ohio River. It's not even a river. It's more like a series of managed pools. I wish I had bitten that hook and let that one crazy fisherman just reel me in. After the 1937 Ohio River floods, it's never been the same.